TNA Wrestling has long played underdog to the big business brutes of the WWE, but it isn't intent on throwing in the towel anytime soon. Known for its trademark six-sided ring, high-risk match types, and progressive camera work, TNA has steadily built its reputation since 2002. In an effort to extend its grip past the turnbuckle, TNA has partnered with Midway to deliver TNA iMPACT, the first game based on the franchise. Does it even have a fighting chance of laying the smackdown on the competition? iMPACT houses a ubiquitous list of modes, including the story option, where you create a wrestler and get on with it. For a change, the setup is more than just an aspiring wrestler trying to make it big. Rather, it's about an aspiring wrestler trying to make it big after being beaten up and left for dead in Mexico. It's a revenge plot complete with plastic surgery, and the chuckle-worthy cutscenes provide just enough to string you along for the ride.
Senor, don't worry. We are going to help you.
In piecing together your champion-to-be, creativity runs a little thin with a limited inventory of facial clothing and body options. It isn't nearly as comprehensive as the competition. The list of wrestling moves to choose from is just as anemic. You're rewarded with style points at the end of each match that unlock new techniques, but the total list is small. Created wrestlers don't level up or make decisions in their storylines, nor do they get to customize their own entrance themes, music, lighting, or entry video. Overall, the player customization lacks the frills that many have come to expect from today's wrestling games. Once you're in the ring, you'll find a typical selection of wrestling matchups like one-on-one, tag team, free-for-all, and pin counts. Unique to TNA is the Ultimate X match type, where the goal is to grab an X suspended above the ring. A slight twist to the traditional ladder match, Ultimate X makes for some interesting dynamics between players, especially when more than two get thrown into the mix. Rounds of Ultimate X require a lot of strategy, but can be drawn out and exasperating. It definitely takes some patience no matter the match type. You'll have to contend with brain-dead AI tag partners 1 minute while dealing with grotesquely overpowered opponents the next. Even in some of your best played matches, expect to succumb to the occasional cheap pin or psychic reversal. On the multiplayer front, matches of every type can be set up with players online, but with a few notable clauses. Custom wrestlers can't be uploaded or downloaded, and match types are limited to their one-on-one variants. Other than that, the latency is fairly minor, but it's just enough to make reversals a crapshoot. TNA iMPACT covers its bases with the expected modes, but lacks some refinement in their execution. The story mode gets some points for originality, but inhibited player customization hurts. The TNA cast is decently represented, though at around 25 wrestlers, none of which are women, the roster is a bit slim in comparison. Depending on who you ask, wrestling can be a pretty technical sport. Thankfully, TNA iMPACT opts for the accessible route with its simple control scheme. You've got your standard assortment of punches, kicks, and throws, as well as a modifier that turns those weak attacks into stronger bone-breaking versions. Along with the ever-popular Irish whip, occasional folding chair attack, and crowd-pleasing turnbuckle jump, iMPACT's got pretty much what you'd expect from a wrestler's standard repertoire of moves. The only real nitpick here is variety, or lack thereof. It won't be long until you see that same hip toss repeat itself among all the wrestlers. Like most wrestling games, iMPACT makes use of body stamina to chart each wrestler's health status. If your stun bar takes too much of a beating, you'll end up in a dazed state, where moves do twice as much damage. The perfect opportunity to land a finishing impact move. Flashy as these signature moves are, you'll really have to lay them on thick if you want to seal the deal. Damaged body parts make it easy for opportunistic submission wrestlers to go for the tap out, but otherwise, the consequences of limb damage aren't visually or mechanically apparent. Wrestlers never slump over in pain, nor do they have difficulty walking after a dozen or so stomps to the crotch. Rounding out iMPACT's suite of jawbreakers is the reversal, triggered by a timed press of the shoulder button. Most of the mystery behind executing these cryptic counters is eliminated by a nicely placed graphic that flashes by your stamina meter when the time is right. With practice, the timing comes naturally, leading to some impressive reversal chains. In all, iMPACT's wrestling system is serviceable for both seasoned vets and rooks. Though its sparse list of moves and unrealistic stamina system expose it as a first effort, clean, accessible controls and a solid reversal system save it from mediocrity. The wrestlers in TNA iMPACT are the best looking in the genre. Fight animation is buttery smooth, helped along by the 60 frames per second clip it runs at. Once you get past that though, things go downhill. Cutscene animation is rigid, and like every other game in the genre, body parts clip through each other constantly. Tag team matches feature a boringly fixed, zoomed-out camera, while the MMA-style camera used in recent TNA matches is nowhere to be found.
He's really on his game.
The announcers could definitely use a lot more lines, and there are frequent loading times despite a lengthy install on the PlayStation 3 version. Nice bonuses like real TNA match highlights and developer diary extras do soften the blow a little. TNA iMPACT is an impressive debut for a wrestling franchise, but when held up against its contemporaries, it's still got a ways to go. The foundation is definitely here, so hopefully the developers will keep working to make it a worthy competitor to THQ's games. It has plenty of superstar talent and a dearth of modes, so if you find yourself watching the show week after week, it's worth a rent at the very least.